episode number 5 of In the Green Room with Aidan Keene. Today I'm joined by a music icon, Mr. Andy Kim. He's a Juno Award winner, an inductee into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and Songwriters Hall of Fame, and he's the brilliant mind behind some of the most iconic songs of all time that we will be talking about shortly. So thank you for joining me today, Andy.
Nice meeting you. And happy Thanksgiving from Canada to you, Aidan. I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely, and thank you for taking the time, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well.
Thank you.
So I'm very big into music history, so when I was doing my homework for this interview, I found some of the things really interesting, and I'm looking forward to learning more. So I read that you got your start with Jeff Barry and the Brill Building scene. So could you tell our listeners a bit more about that?
Well, first of all, I grew up in the tenements of Montreal, first of all. Second of all, I borrowed my older brother's transistor one night. Didn't have the cell phones back then, but there was transistor radios that you could log on to. And I'm the third of 4 brothers. And so after listening to static and trying to find a some form of radio station or something out there, I heard WABC New York City, and this is Cousin Brucey.
Oh,
And he started talking about not only the radio station, not only the call letters, but about the fact that there was this band coming to town, and girls were lined up to get their autographs, and they're going to be playing at, and I forget what place, but it was the first time that I heard anything about a band coming to town and girls lining up for autographs. It was outside. We didn't have a TV set at that time and all that kind of stuff. So that transistor radio and WABC became my life support. And I started hearing songs that I had never heard on Montreal radio. And I got addicted to the fact that I was a dreamer, and dreamers always find their way. Wishers never get the results they're wishing for. But as I got older, I realized that dreamers have the power to execute what they need to execute for whatever, I'm dreaming of something. So my parents didn't really understand what I wanted. My family didn't understand what I wanted. The kids in school, I went to parochial school. Nobody understood what this dream was about. And so I fought my way, found a guitar that I paid, I think, $45 for. And it had a crack in it. I tuned it. I used the bathroom more than anyone else because there was an echo chamber in the bathroom. They'd be yelling at me to get out of there. But I really, really finally, I think when I was 16, 17, I needed to go to New York City. I needed to go to the Brill Building. I needed to meet Jeff Barry because my brothers also had magazines, and those magazines had the names of not only the songs that were on the charts, but the songwriters and the addresses. So I had a battle, but I was stubborn, and I needed to do things. And I was a good student. I didn't cause any trouble. I wasn't looking for any trouble, but I talked them into allowing me to go to New York City. And I took a bus from Montreal to New York City. I didn't know anyone, but I found where 1619 was. And it's changed my whole life.
Yeah.
And I asked to, I went to a lot of different places, um, but I found that 1619 Broadway on the ninth floor was where Jeff Barry was. So I waited like 2.5 hours in the lobby, and they tried to like, they had no idea. I didn't have a meeting or anything. Um, but they tried to, after seeing me there, and they thought maybe I was kind of a little bit of a nut job, which I probably was. And he gave me 5 minutes of his time that turned out to be 3 minutes of his time. And he said, "What do you got?" And I started singing the two chords that I knew and part of a song. And he says, "Oh, okay, come back next week." I said, "Well, I've got to go. Uh, I've got to go home because my mom and dad, I've promised them that I would be here for this time, and then I need to go back home." Kind of stared at me a little bit. And as I was putting the guitar in the case, he said, "Well, I've got to go to the studio." So, and I didn't allow him to finish the sentence. I said, "Excuse me, can I come with you? I've never been in a studio before." How naive is it? How crazy is it? And he said, "Have you had lunch?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "Well, I usually get a sandwich and I only eat half of it. So I'll give you the other half." And we ended up going into a studio that I now know as a studio that was at the basement of a hotel, Mira Sound. And he just kind of waved me to sit behind the engineer. And I stayed there for about 5 minutes, and he was in the studio. I had no idea what was going on. I saw this place, and he saw me get up, and he waved me down. So I sat back again, and I waited for maybe 10 minutes. I was really anxious and nervous, and I had to get on a bus. So I ran all the way back to the Brill building, went to the ninth floor, and got the address and the phone number, and then I went back to Montreal. Um, and that gave me an opportunity to build on that dream. And kind of the rest is kind of pretty cool in my life because I had no known skills. There was nothing that I really wanted to do except be in a band or be a solo artist and have girls asking me for my autograph. So that's the beginning.
Very cool. And you and Jeff ended up writing songs together, including Sugar Sugar, correct?
Absolutely. Aiden, it's unbelievable what happens when you believe in a dream because it's really not kind of reality. I mean, the fact that I was able to write songs with Jeff Barry, who, he had partnered with Ellie Greenwich and Phil Spector, and it was Lieber and Stoller's office there. It just kind of, um, as naive as I was, um, I'm still that naive kid that feels that I'm lucky, that feels that I'm blessed. And when people ask me about Sugar Sugar or some of the songs, especially Sugar Sugar, I say I can't take a bow for inspiration because that song was already wrapped and done in a few minutes.
Wow.
So here I am many years later talking to you.
That's incredible. So Sugar Sugar really just came together There was really no formula to putting that together then, right?
No, there was no, okay, so let's see. Sugar. What do you rhyme with sugar? Okay, well, sugar. You know what? I've often asked a couple of classes that had people had asked me to attend, and they were all just songwriters, and they talked about sugar, and I said, well, I need to ask you all the question. It's like, does anyone know a lyric in a song? And I recited, I just can't believe the loveliness of loving you. I just can't believe it's true. Leonard Cohen, no. Joni Mitchell, no. Bob Dylan, no. And it went on for a good 20 seconds. And I said, that's the first verse of Sugar, Sugar. But everybody remembers the chorus. Sugar, da, 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 da. So I don't know. I think it's a magical thing in my life that I'm able to write songs, believe in them, and move on knowing that God has blessed me. It may sound silly, it may sound naive, but that's my life.
That's beautiful, and it's true. Um, and it's definitely something that is gonna carry on too for many generations and be remembered. And that's really cool.
I don't know why though. Do you understand how that works? It's like, okay, well, don't know why.
It just brings joy. It brings a lot of joy. I mean, my band, we do Sugar Sugar in our shows, and people automatically, they
Hey,
always light up whenever that we start that. Um, and we have a great time
it's
with it.
really it's medicinal, I know, but I think I think here's what I heard a long time ago. To analyze is to paralyze. So most of my life is not built on analysis. Um, I talk to people about the song, but it just happened. And look, here's an interesting stat. I had a hit record called Baby I Love You
Yep.
that hit the charts for the first time on May 24th, 1969. Became my first million seller, went top 10. But May 24th, 1969 is when Sugar Sugar was released. And nobody wanted to play it till July, where a program director in San Francisco decided to play it one time. And at that time, you got to call in and tell the radio station that you love a song. Well, the phones crashed. And then it traveled around the world. And as I said, I can't take a bow for inspiration, or else I'd have done this 1,000 times. So it's a beautiful gift that I received.
It really is. And I love that song. And it's funny because I've always loved that song, and we always put it in our band shows. But in my tribute shows, a couple months ago, I did a Tom Jones act. And I came across Tom Jones's version of Sugar Sugar, and I said, I can do it in this show too. So I did. And people
Yeah.
loved it.
Well, you get Tina Turner. Have you heard her version?
No, I haven't.
Bob Marley. Have you heard his version?
No, I haven't.
Wilson Pickett had an R&B Billboard top 4 million seller. Have you heard his version?
No.
Gladys Knight. Have you heard her version?
Wow. I have to go and do more homework after this.
No, it's cool, man. It's part of the discovery of life.
Mm.
You're not supposed to get everything all at once. You're supposed to, hey, how was your day? Well, you know what? I learned this today.
Wow. That's really cool. And so fast forward a couple of years, in 1974, you released Rock Me Gently, which was also a number one for you. Um, and my question is, since you wrote Sugar Sugar for the Archies the so what was it like having a huge hit for yourself, a number one of your own that you was, you singing?
Yeah, it was really it was gratifying because I wrote the song, I produced the song, and went to every record label in the US because I've had hits in the US first and then the hits what played in Canada.
Hmm.
Um, Nobody wanted to sign me because as great as we talk about the Brill Building, there was a motto with all the publishers in the Brill Building, and you're only as good as your last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I decided to start my own record company. I would be the promotion man. I really believed in this song. So I started my own record company. And I pushed, some radio people knew me, and you have to. It it starts in the small stations and all of that, and so a radio station in Detroit liked it, started playing it, and then I got a call from a stranger who became a dear friend, and Capitol Records took over the worldwide uh, promotion for Rock Me Gently because I was just, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm not a record company. So I basically, I don't listen to anybody. I'll just listen to what my gut tells me. So that was a pretty huge step from only knowing two chords to writing a song that maybe had three chords and a passing chord. I forget right now. Um, but mostly the dreamer. You got to be a dreamer, Aidan. You can't listen to anybody. You got to listen to your dream. You got to believe it because your life depends on it. So Rock Me Gently's sold 6 million records around the world. Uh, I own the writing, the publishing, the record, everything. So I made more money than if I'd have given it to somebody. Someone had said, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're Andy Kim. We love your records. We'll sign you." It didn't happen that way.
Mm.
So I become a philosopher as I got older, and I realized that God is always on time, not your time, not someone else's time, but your time. And so when things don't go the way you want them to go, you don't stop. You don't try to do anything that dis distinguishes something that you believe in. You've got to hold on to what you believe in. And so what doesn't happen at one time, you can go kicking and screaming and getting pissed off, but that doesn't do you any good. Just you have to you have to stay in the race. And for me, that was a big lesson that they said no, I said yes. And eventually the understanding was that I got a better bite of the apple than I did if they'd have said yes. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Yeah, it does. And that's amazing too. You just, you hear that saying all the time, follow your dreams, but really to take it to heart and do it and have something become so successful, it shows that it's true. And that's really cool.
I'm a poster boy for a dreamer. I mean, ask the people that know me, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. when you're living in that bubble, especially coming where I came from.
Looking back now, on your dreams that have come true and your work, what do you hope that listeners, from my generation or generations before me can take away from listening to an Andy Kim song?
Well, I really don't know. Um, I think the most important thing, you said something earlier that Sugar Sugar made you feel good.
Mhm.
Um, and when you think of the dynamics of what was going on in 1969, the year of Woodstock,
Mhm.
Kent State, the Vietnam War, all the darkness that was happening, somehow Betty and Veronica showed up and they said, "Hey, we're around." Um, so I'm not big on giving people's advice. I'm not big on trying to decipher what you're looking for or what someone else would like in their lives. If someone comes to me, then I'll find out if they're a dreamer or not. And I just I basically I turn around and it's a wonder that I'm here. It's a wonder that you want to talk to me. It really is. Because I'm still the third of four brothers. And I don't think I've done anything that was different from anything that I felt that I wanted to do. There are other people that walk around and they have a hit record and they're bigger than life and they're more important than other people. It's not how my life has unfolded.
Well, right, I just want to thank you right now for all that you did because, as I said, you have these songs that have stuck with me over, I'm only 20, and I learned these songs when I was probably about 10 years old. So even in 10 years, these songs have changed my life in such a way that I've been, inspired to pursue music. And, I've tried to write songs and they're not very good right now, but, it's to keep working on it and to follow that dream. That really is inspiring. So thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, dreamers always visualize. Wishers just complain, I think. Oh man, I wish I'd had this. I wish. But dreamers, I mean, Aidan, I have a feeling that you're going to just spend some time dreaming. Okay, so what is it? What is my dream? Because it'll guide you. You'll trip and fall and feel irrelevant and have your 2 minutes and 30 seconds but that becomes your life. That becomes your reason for living is the dream. I've got a dream, girl. I've got to dream this, which, well, no one's doing this. Doesn't matter. This is my dream. So, Aiden, I'm not telling you not to listen to anybody. I'm just saying that at 20, you're different in in focus. There's a lot of other things going on. There was less things going on when I was 20. So it's easy to get lost in the world of whether it's social media and stuff. It, nobody cares about you except you. Nobody wants the best for you except you. And nobody can deliver except you. You're the only one that can deliver. So now, where I am.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, and it's been an absolute honor. I know it's Thanksgiving in Canada today, So
Okay, thank you.
I obviously want you to spend time with your family, but I want you to know that I'm walking away from this visit very inspired because you've given me a lot to think about and a new way of doing that. Because, I've always been one to ask advice from other people, but to have that reinforcement of just following my dream means a lot, and I'm going to spend a lot of time with that.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you soon.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for joining me today. And just really quick for all of my listeners who would like to learn more about you, can you tell us where they can find your information, where you might be playing, or any new projects?
Um, well, I'm being inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame on Friday. Um, I do a lot of charity work. Um, I personally fill my life with my dreams. And I think I have a website,
Okay.
but I don't go there. Don't tell anybody. I think I have a Facebook account, and I have X,
That
but
sounds good. I'll link those in the end of this video so people can learn more about you and do what they want to do with that online.
okay, man.
So thank you so much for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have been with Mr. Andy Kim, and I look forward to hopefully speaking with you again sometime soon, and thank you for spending some time with me.
Always. This is a new friendship right now.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That means a lot.
Okay. All right.
Take care,
Send me one of
everybody.
your songs.
I will. I will.
Okay.
Take care,
Okay.
everybody. God bless.
Ciao.